मीनू मैम से पूछना है एक बार। मीनू मैम से पूछना। Hello, a very good afternoon to everyone. I hope I am audible to you.
Hello.
Yes, Vimlesh, you are audible. Yes.
Yeah. So we have very two special experts for this session. First, I welcome Professor Sandeep Grover sir, Professor Department of Mechanical Engineering, JC Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA, who is the speaker of this session. Professor Dr. Sandeep Grover sir is currently working as professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering at JC Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA, Faridabad. Sir is also serving as Dean Quality Assurance. Sir has obtained bachelor's degree in engineering, master's degree in technology, and PhD in the field of quality management. Sir has authored more than 100 papers in national and international journals and conferences. Sir has successfully guided 11 PhDs till now. He is associated with different regulatory bodies like NAC and NBA for quality related activities. He also holds membership to various bodies in and outside parent university and various capacities. I welcome you in the session, sir. Now, I welcome our co-speaker for the session, Dr. Sanjeev Goyal, sir, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA, Faridabad. Sir, passionate and innovative young professional with an exemplary academic record and a passion for continuous learning and professional development. Studies postdoc in decision sciences from Industrial Engineering Department, Swanson School of Engineering, University of Pittsburgh, USA. Sir is carrying the responsibilities of Director, Alumni and Corporate Affairs, Vice President, Industry Innovation Council, and Principal Community College of Skill Development, and Sir is Associate Professor in Engineering Department. Sir has published more than 50 research papers in international journals, including journals of SCI, IEEE Explorer, International and National Conference. I welcome you in the session, sir. Sir, may I request you to please start with the session?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So a very good afternoon and namaskar to all of you. Uh, you are welcome to this session. As introduced by the secretary, I am Sandeep Grover, and I have my co-speaker Dr. Goyal with me. So let me share screen first. Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So dear colleagues, uh, we will be taking the session on some aspects of quality assurance and robotic system. So Sanjeev has worked in various areas in robotics, and we thought that we'll join together hands for some quality assurance aspects with the robotics. So let me tell you that we have been working in this area for quite some time, and we have found that the conventional part of quality assurance that we talk in various other manufacturing organizations and other industries is yet to take a good start in the area of robotics. So those of my friends who are working in this area or who propose to work in this area, I must tell them that there is a lot of scope where we could find that very minimum work has been done. So, I mean, that is what is the purpose of exploring also through this lecture. So this will be what I will be talking about primarily. Something about introduction to the concepts of the systems, then the quality control, and the quality assurance. The basic these three, and then something about based on their industrial or maybe application based, or it can be based on the use. And for each of these, what are and something about of standardization, that is the what are various standards, awareness on the standards for the robotics, ISO, International Organization for Standardization.
Excuse me, sir. Uh, s-
Hello, my screen is visible?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, we have lost your audio connection in between.
Oh, actually, I have to switch off the video then, because there is a lot
Okay.
of. My screen is visible, no? PPT.
No, sir. Not now, sir.
Not visible. So that means when the connection was lost, everything was lost at that time. Now it is visible.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Now the screen is visible, right? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, okay. So dear colleagues, we talk about the system, and what is a system? It is nothing but a group of interacting or interrelated entities. So any manufacturing system, any working system, which is nothing but a group of systems that are interacting. There is some sort of subsystems that are interacting in a way which can be dynamic in nature. Then there can be various components in a system or in a subsystem which have got individual goals, individual parameters, individual quality aspects, and as a result of which, when in a holistic way you see a system, you will find that it is very difficult to find out a routine way in which you can quantify system like this. So when you cannot quantify a system in terms of its effectiveness, probably the problem that we have been facing is that it is very difficult for you to quantify the quality. So that leads us to the aspects that why we should go for quality aspects in all these systems. So it can be a computer system, very as simple as that. Automobile can be system, TQM system, your institution, your college can be system. And similarly, when you talk of a thing like a robotic system, you can have components in them, and all these components can be interacting with each other. And as a result of which, you say that a robotic system is a system that contains various sensors, control systems, manipulators, power supplies, and software. They all are working to perform a task. So why quality concern in robotic system? Of course, we have been talking about quality concern in all the system. It can be a TQM or it can be your institution or automobile or any type of manufacturing system. But now, why there is a requirement of quality concern or quality assurance process in the robotic system? So let us ask certain questions to ourselves. When you talk about the quality of a robotic system, is it the performance of the robot, the predefined performance, what you expect out of a robot? Is it the reliability of a robot? Is it the serviceability? Is it the effectiveness of a collaborative robot or a cobot? Or is it the value of money you are expecting? Or is it fitness to use? Now, I am sure that answer to all of these questions would be yes, to an extent that the area or the field or the, you can say, the number of robots are not so many that you can talk about the last two aspects. No, why? Because due to globalization, the quality expectations of the customers in individualism and in totality, they are increasing. They are increasing only because there are a lot of varieties available, there are a lot of models available, and then a customer is in the driver's seat. But dear colleagues, let me tell you that this is an nascent stage. In robotic field, this stage is yet to come. I can give you an example. When you talk about say 1980 or say maybe something before that. So when you talk about purchasing a car, I don't know how many of you are aware of these things. How or maybe your parents might be knowing. You had only two choices. You either purchase a Fiat car or purchase an Ambassador car. So that means there was no variety available to you. So your quality expectations were quite limited to whatever is available in the market. Now, in field of robotics, we have little crossed that stage, and I think it will take more years to cross the stage before you can answer the questions of the last two. That is it value for the money or is it fitness to the use? Now, if the answer to all these quality aspects of a robot is yes, then it takes us to the basic dimensions of the quality, by which we say that as per the Garvin's theory, so whatever are the dimensions in the other aspects, the same should happen here also. So the Garvin's 8 dimensions of quality: performance, features, reliability, conformance, durability, serviceability, aesthetics, and perceived quality. Now, this article of HBR is so famous, is so good, that all the future researches in the quality have roots to this paper, competing on the 8 dimensions of quality. So you talk of any product primarily, so you will see that yes, these 8 dimensions must be fulfilled, and how they are fulfilled, that you have to see. So for that you have to go to the basics of the quality. So all these 8 dimensions are quite understandable, quite simple, but still if anybody wants, I can explain any one of them or maybe more if there is a okay. So when you take to the basic dimensions of quality, now what is the quality that you are expecting? So for that, this has been proven in the literature also. There are few papers available on this, that when you talk about a robot, you are of course concerned about the reliability, you are concerned about the usability, you are concerned about the maintainability. Of course, performance, if it is there, then only you can move ahead. Now, this takes us back that what type of quality we are expecting. Now, why I am saying what type of quality? Because quality is a complex and multifaceted concept. Quality is a complex and multifaceted concept. Why it is complex? I have already told you that quality is complex because it is difficult to quantify the quality. So there are not many parameters available to you. So it is very difficult. Why? Because quality is multifaceted. There are different windows of quality. If something is of quality to me, might not be to you, and vice versa. So every person, every customer, more or less, there are certain common parameters, but then quality is different to different people. It is something like, saying that when you talk about any product, so everyone is not after the same product. There is any simple, because for some this is the quality, for some others other is the quality, other product is the quality. So quality is everyone's responsibility and everyone's prerogative. Why everyone's responsibility? Because in the manufacturing field, whether it is robotics or any other manufacturing unit, quality can only come when everyone works for the quality, not only quality assurance or quality control department. And it's everyone's prerogative, because once you have got, some laws, then everyone wants to enjoy that. So that's everyone's prerogative. So based on that, we say that there are various definitions of quality. Some of them can fit to the robots. Some of them, they are expected they will fit in future to the robots. Quality is conformance to specified requirements given by Crosby, that whatever are the specified requirements, whatever are the expectations in terms of the performance, if you are working towards that, that is a quality. I'm not going to that detail on this, but still, if you want, you can stop me. Quality is fitness for use, given by Juran, that if something is fit to be used for you, you are happy using it, then it is quality. But if it is very good, and a lot of say parameters are there, there are a lot of features, but still when you use it, it is not fit. You don't like it. So then it is quality is fitness for use. Similarly, quality is value for money. You purchase something and you find it works very well, and you say that yes, I have got value for my money. Or maybe something is quite costly. You see that it is there with you for last 4 or 5 years. You say yes, I have got value for my money. So value for money is your own perception. So that's why it's again a complex thing. Perception of different people for money is different. For a CEO of an organization, a pen of rupees 500 may be value for money, but for a student, a pen of rupees 10 may be value for money. So this value also differs from customer to customer. But yes, as per ISO, quality is totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy stated and implied needs. So whatever are the stated needs, you have to fulfill them. Whatever are the implied needs, that also customers expect. So uh, in this area also, when we are talking about the robotic system, the last definition, quality is totality of features and characteristics, that is given by International Organization for Standardization, holds good here also, because everything is not stated, something is implied also. So that we'll talk later also. And of course, the most accepted definition is the quality is the customer satisfaction. Now, moving ahead, when I talk about the basic principles in a robotic system, I say one part is inspection, which of course inspection and quality control are related, because once you do the inspection, your purpose is to control the quality, which of course can be controlled before the manufacturing, during manufacturing, or after manufacturing, or it can be a software quality control. But what we are concerned here is a quality assurance. Now, what is difference between quality control and quality assurance? When I talk about quality assurance, I am assuring my customer that yes, you take it this of quality. Why? Because that is my brand name. That is the ISO 9000. I have got a say 70% of the market share. So these are some of the quality assurance parameters that you want to give it to the customer. But this is only possible when you take care of the primary and the secondary or the implied needs also about the customer when they are working about the quality. Okay. So this takes us to little more detail in the quality hierarchy. So when you talk about any system in a quality, of course, the inspection, quality control, quality assurance, and TQM, they are of course the one of the letters in the quality. But all these systems, including the robotic system, they are controlled by the quality parameters, the technological developments in the field, the customer preferences, and whatever are the government regulations or standardization or the procedures given by the industry. So looking into that, why there is a need of quality assurance in the robotics? So when I say why there is a need, sorry, why there is a need of quality assurance with the robotics, let us answer a few questions. Are we fulfilling the Garvin standards in terms of the performance, in terms of the reliability, serviceability, durability, and so on? Okay. They are being manufactured as per the standards. Okay, and there is a lot of R&D going, around the world, in all the, and I mean in most of the countries. So failures in these systems could be extremely expensive and even deadly. So it is not only the performance and the safety that matters more in the robotic system. It takes us to the basics of the value engineering. So we must understand that when we are working in a robotic system, it is not only the kinematics of the robotics, it is not only the performance of the robotics. Apart from that, over a period of time, we are going to encounter, yes, these are the factors which are going to affect the quality system in the robotics. I just got something information for you that how these can be deadly. So, this was the one of the major failures of autonomous robot. When I think you all must have seen this in news too. Self-driving car kills pedestrian in Arizona where robots roam. So this was of 18th March 2018. And after that, for a long time, of course, this was a testing part, and all this taken on the hold. So this is what can happen. So you can't say that 100% perfect the manufacturing part or standard. So something you need to understand about the basic aspects in the value engineering. Okay, a very only one or two slides for this. When you talk about value engineering, I hope you understand value is the worth of the products. How much is the worth of this product is given to me in terms of the ratio of the quality to the cost or the features to the cost. And when you talk about the worth, this worth is given by the primary function and the secondary function. So when I say primary function is something for which the product has been made, the basic function or the primary function. Say as simple as that. If I talk about an automobile, I say the primary function of a car is to provide transportation. In value engineering, it's only a two-word definition. But are we spending whole money in the providing transportation? No, we are not. We are spending much part of our, the total cost even in the secondary function. Now, when I come into the robotic system, you may say that in this it's only primary function. No, we only see as a primary function because we only see the caged robots which are in the industry and how they are working. Apart from that, if you think apart from that, there are many features, there are many factors that the industries are expecting, and as a result of which the things are changing in the research. So a robot as per ISO, this is the definition of a robot as per the ISO standard. Reprogrammable, multifunction manipulator designed to move material, parts, tools, or specialized devices through variable programmed motion for performance of variety of tasks. Now, are we expecting more, or that's all? This is the definition because this is for what a product is made. So it depends what type of robot I'm talking about. Say for example, if I talk about these two types of robots, then can you have same parameters for the expectations of the customer of the quality? No. In the second case, you find there will be a lot of perceived effect. There will be a lot of subjectivity. So the expectations would be difficult to quantify. Of course, to some extent, it is possible in the first case, specifically in the performance only. But it is not only the performance of a robot, it is also the other factors that we are coming to that. So based on that, let us first have an initial classification of 3-4 slides. Then we will talk about what are the quality parameters of each of the robots. So Dr. Sanjeev, can you take this? How do you talk about the?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you, Professor Grover. Thank you was taking us through the quality aspects of the robotic systems. So, sir, you have chosen a very beautiful topic. I've been to this Swenson School of Engineering, the industrial department. So, the most paid jobs are in the industrial area only. If I talk about a technical person on robotic side, it might be like they are up to some limit in the pay. But if you go to industrial management of the robotic system, which the area is still not that much has explored. So my colleagues who are attending this lecture, they might be going through this industrial aspects, which never have been discussed so beautifully, never have been taken into as a research direction. So with this lecture, I hope some of the participants will be taking this as a industrial aspects or quality assurance aspects of the robotic system, and they will take it as a research topic. And I quite give you the assurance that these kind of engineers are needed with a very, they also get a very high handsome packages as well. So with that, I thank you, Professor Grover. I know you will be continuing with this. I'm just taking few of the minutes to introduce the audience about the about this classification of robotic systems. At the same time, I see that the participants are all at the doctoral level, and they might have been to this robotic and CNC system from a long time. So I know they might be, this is something they already knew. So, but for the other persons, I'm just introducing and taking you through the classification of the robotic system, because the lecture is structured like that. We have a different systems in robotic part, and sir has explored the various you can say the factors responsible for the quality assurance. And after knowing the quality assurance factors, you can decide your direction how to control those factors. So with that, I have just a few slides over here, which will be just taking you through the classification of robotic system. I'm not taking much of the time. So if I talk about a broad classification, this broad classification includes industrial and non-industrial, and then the type of use, then some of the applications are there with the classification of robotic systems. May I go to the next slide, sir? Thank you, sir. So if I talk about the robots, then there is a pre-programmed robots. This has a huge industrial application. You might have seen the robotic arms here in the industries, where you can pre-program your robotic arm, and then it performs its operation according to the earlier program, according to your choice. So these have applications in welding, and they have applications in painting, and all those applications. You might have seen most of the robotic arms incorporated in the MNCs with the automobile sector. So it's very easy to pre-program these robots, I must say, because I have done the programming. It's not very difficult. You don't need to go for the Java language or C++ language or any other language. You need not to do that. Only thing is that you have a robotic arm with you. You have to take the robotic arm to the predefined points. And while you're taking the robotic arm to the predefined points, along that you have to decide whether your robotic arm should move in a line, in a circle, or a point-to-point motion. So all these 2-3 combinations, you can suppose you have a predefined triangle or a circular or a complex shape or integrate shape. So you have to choose some points over there. You have to give the radius and center, and everything is being done automatically with the language which is already there in your robotics system. So it's very easy to perform. So if some of your researchers are thinking to means how to go for a programming, it might just take 1 or 2 days to get acquainted with the robotic arm, so all those things. So this pre-programmed robotic arms are the robotic arms which are employed in industries. Okay. Then we have humanoid robots. So if I'm talking about humanoid robots, these mimic the human behavior. These robots usually perform human-like activities like running, jumping, and carrying objects, and are sometimes designed to look like us, even having human faces and expressions. You might have seen so many robotic faces, like some of the videos are always there going on the WhatsApp, where some humanoid robots are there performing some of the tasks. If I'm talking about a humanoid robotic system, so it has a combinations of augmentation of power, then it has a combination of sensors. So through those combinations, it tries to mimic the behavior of the human. So with that, this is humanoid robots in other aspects. Why we are discussing this? Because we have two different systems in just one slide. One is pre-programmed robots, another one is humanoid robots. In this single slide only, because of these two different systems, definitely these two systems have different aspects of quality assurance. These two systems must have a different factors which needs to be controlled, which needs to be get assurance as a quality managers. You can see your application, you can see a lot of research opportunities even in a single slide. Right. So sir is going to discuss about the various factors later on, and you must note down those factors. If you are thinking of doing a research on a quality assurance, just to know the factors, you have to go through a lot of literature survey. But over here in this lecture, those will be given to you, and later on you can apply some of the MADM techniques or MCDM techniques to go about controlling or assuring those robotic systems. Sir, may I move to the next slide, sir? All right. So this is assistive robotics. This is an area of robotics that deals with utilizing robots as a tools rather than task-based autonomous system. The use of robotics as an assistive tool requires a special set of metrics rather than a sole use of conventional task completion time metric. So if I'm talking about an assistive robotics, that means you can, its name explains everything, right? Assistive robotics means it is going to assist us through developing, say, some kind of addition to the human movement, or if suppose someone has lost a limb in some of the accident, then these assistive robots are going to help you in the form of, say, prosthetic arms, and so in another forms of some form of limbs. So these assistive robots are going to enhance the incapability of a human. That incapability might arise because of some accidents, or it might have some form of birth. So these assistive robots are such that, so if I'm saying about assistive robots, then automatically it should come to my mind that they must have a sensor, because those sensors should be attached with the human system, and human should be able to control through sensors the robotic arms or the prosthetic arms. So this is that another system. So I'm not going into the technical details of assistive robotic system, because in this lecture is not about the assistive robotic system, but this lecture is going to tell you about the quality assurance, how we can ensure the quality assurance in assistive robotic systems. What are the various factors we need to look upon? So this is another area where sir is going to tell you about the quality assurance. Sir, may I have another slide, sir? Then we have autonomous robots. So if I'm talking about autonomous robots, so name automatically tells me that they work without the intervention of human operators. So how a robot can work without a human operators? So that means they must have a vision system installed with them. If they don't have the vision system, it becomes difficult for making an independent robot. So you immediately when I said the vision system is there, it should comes to your mind some robot system is moving and doing its work in a isolated area where no human intervention is there. It is taking its own decision by the help of vision system. So once you install the vision system, it is able to differentiate between the different colors, different shapes, and it can take its own decisions. So this is how the autonomous robots, another system where you have looking for a quality assurance. Then we have a teleoperated robots. So teleoperated robots are robots where they are being controlled through some distance apart. So as I said, through some distance apart, immediately its area of application comes to my mind that it might be used in army or some over there, or some in critical situations where the approach of human is not possible, or it is dangerous for a human. So you have a robot system which is there in the field, which is being controlled at some distance apart, so that it can perform operations like a human, but it saves the human life over there. So okay, so these are called the teleoperated robots. Then we have augmenting robots. Augmenting robots, or you can say augmented powered robots. Okay, so in this we have again enhance current human capabilities or replace the capabilities a human may have lost, like prosthetic limbs. So augmentation is nothing but increasing the capabilities. Augmentation, if I say a little meaning, it is just to increase the human capabilities over there. Again, I'm telling you that I'm not going into the technical details of all these robot systems. I'm just introducing these robot systems so you can have a different control. Okay, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sanjeev. Now, apart from that, there are various ways in which you can classify a robot, maybe on the basis of kinematics, and the parts that we have just covered. Apart from that, you could have one of the ways in which you say, yes, this is based off application part. So robotic applications you see in manufacturing, you see in the logistics, at the home ground, maybe a vacuum cleaner or something like that, maybe in travel or in the healthcare, in medical field. Now, all these applications are varying, and let me tell you that over the years, the percentage of use in all these cases is also varying. So I will talk about in my last slide about some say for example, if you talk about something 15 years ago, most of the robots were in the automotive sector, but over the years the percentage has come down even to less than 50%, because now they find applications in lot many ways. Now this also suggests us that when they find application in various other fields, then there is something to be done in terms of the quality parameters. Because if it is only in the case of single field, then you can understand that yes, this is the fixed scenario of application, and that's why these are the fixed parameters for the more or less fixed parameters for the quality assurance. So let us see some of these applications where you find that what could be quality enabled parameters for these types of robots. Now when I use quality enabled parameters, it says that what are those factors which are going to affect the overall quality assurance process of a robotic system. Say for example, if I talk about a manufacturing sector, now this has got typical applications. All of it can be welding, painting, assembly, disassembling, pick, place, and so all these applications that you find in the manufacturing sector. Now when you talk about the performance in this case, you say this is a major parameter. Of course, all of us agree, because without performance or without the Garvin's, those 8 factors, you cannot move ahead, because that is a primary function. Now, apart from performance, there are factors, and of course, safety is a requirement. So safety, I would also take it as a primary part only, because there are regulations for safety, and safety of the robot is quite important. But apart from that, have you thought that space is also a requirement for a robot? Since you do not have much of the choice, so or even if there is a variety, you find that more or less in these aspects they are similar. So over the years, it has been found that the quality assurance parameters of the robotic system, even in the manufacturing sector, is not only the performance of the safety. With more and more research going on, with more and more industries coming into this, and more and more availability of such robotic systems, you find that things like space and aesthetics have also become a part which find a way. Of course, as on date, you can say that, so these are nothing in front of performance and safety. I said, okay, is there nothing in terms as on date? But over the years, if you have got a set of competitors which are providing you performance in the safety, then space and aesthetics would also take some seat when you're deciding about the quality assurance system of a robotic system. So in that way, what we are talking about today in the quality assurance system, this is the minimal part. In a manufacturing sector, this is the minimum part where you can say that the primary functions, as as we discussed just now, as per the theory of value engineering, the primary functions, they play a major role, and you are spending almost all the money in the primary functions also. Let us see some more parts. So if I talk about this manufacturing sector only, so now this I already told you that the system of caging of robots is slowly and slowly going away, because earlier, as I told you about more than 50% applications were in the area of automotive sector or in the manufacturing sector. So there was always stiff material, rigid systems, and then it was like you are isolating the humans in the robotic workplace. But over the years, and now the recently also, you have come up with the cobots. Cobots, I think all of you must have heard. They are the collaborative robots where both the human beings and the robots, they are working together one by one. Of course, there is no mixing. They are working one by one, but in coordination with each other. And in such cases, you will find that this traditional system of robots, we are slowly and slowly they are going to become obsolete. So if you see a cobot, you see that the three main aspects are the coexistence, they are the cooperation, and they are the collaboration when we talk about the humans and the robots. Now this again is the area which has got a lot of attention worldwide, but still there are not much of the robots in industry which you can call as a human robot collaboration, or which you call as a cobot. I hope all of you have heard these terms, but still, if you want, uh, I can show you something if possible. Now these are the areas where you find that in manufacturing system we are going more for the primary function in the quality assurance system. There is some issue in the just hold on. I don't have much to show you with these videos, only one video I can get, because others I found that you can always go with them. It's only 2 minutes. Let us see if it works. Okay. Are you able to see? Now this you see as collaboration. Okay. So this 2 minutes video was just to give you a feel of how the cobots, and I hope it adds value. Okay, moving ahead. So then there are social robots. Now this is area where there is a lot of scope of quality assurance. In this case, performance is of course there, primary function is of course there, safety is of course there, but apart from that, you can research upon this that there are so many factors which are going to affect that. What is going to control the quality in terms of the social robots? Performance, anthropomorphism is looking like human being, huh? Likability, the perceived intelligence, and error free or the mistake accepting. So this is one of the literatures that I came across. To err is human, normally you have saying that to err is human, sorry. So this is a to err is robot, how humans assess and act towards an error the social robot. So this primarily talks about that how people over a survey, how people are initially not very happy if a social robot, one who is at the are initially not happy when is doing some mistake, but at the same time their satisfaction level increases when robot at the same time immediately accepts the mistakes. So apart from that, there are many social robots that are available, and I think the most famous of them, all of you might have heard, is the Sophia. Is a social humanoid robot developed by Hanson Robotics, and this was there in IIT Mumbai also, and in one more college and some other places also in India also. So apart from that, there are many social robots available like this, which you can search out. I am not going to you know pick up this slide here. So social robot is one of the areas where quality assurance parameters are more of a secondary nature, if not today, then over the time to come, when these types of robots are going to take a front seat in the manufacturing of the robots. Robots assisting old people. Now here it is something like saying that when a layman he goes to buy a Maruti car, and then the persons over say that sir, it is matching the performance. It is written it is 1200 cc and you can see it is 1200 cc. Now what a layman understands, what is 1200 cc? Nothing. He or she is not interesting. As a customer, you are interested in lot many other parameters. That can be branding, that can be your horsepower, that can be something your aesthetics when you go and purchase some product like that. Similarly, when you talk about robots in the social system, or in the areas where they are going to find more and more applications in the coming times, is something like when robotics are assisting old people. So you must understand that what are the problem areas, and accordingly what type of robots have been developed. So there can be social isolation, old people. So you need to have some companion robots for them. They can be dependent living, physical and cognitive. Some part of the body is not working as desired naturally. There can be some mobility problems. There can be some poor health monitoring, lack of recreation, some remaining problems, some fall problems. So these are the typically problems, and based on that, based on this assessment, you have to see that which type of robot fits over there. It can be companion robot, it can be telepresence robot, it can be manipulator robotic service robots, you know rehabilitation robot, health monitoring robot, domestic robot, entertainment, and likewise. So you find that there are lot many robots. Even in the COVID times, you might have seen that over some videos, that how robots are helping us when they find application in assisting the patients in the hospitals, or even maybe supplying food to them, or maybe sanitizing an area. So when these robots are assisting these people, so do you think that only performance is going to count? Performance is something like a basic requirement. So beyond that, we talk about that what is now the expectations of the customer, expectations of the people over the years who are going to use such types of robots. Of course, when I say performance, it includes safety also, because safety is another important part, which always is there in the robotics. So this work I came account the effectiveness of various robotic technologies in assisting older adults. So I could find very few papers in the area that I'm going to. I want you that yes, they should be there. But apart from that, I could find out that the parameters are given here and there, but they are not been assimilated in a way that we normally do in the case of a quality assurance process. Okay. If there is some question, somebody's raised hand, or we can take it later on. Okay. Similarly, medical robots. Now, there are now lot of applications. It is being found in the case of medical robots. Performance, again, one thing. I'm writing performance again and again. Performance and safety, strength, the speed, the agility, the precision. Lack of fatigue, everything. So, what are the perceived functions? Surgery is done with precision. Now, how much? There is no, something like, you can say that's on a scale of 10, it is this much. Miniaturization, small incisions, decreased blood loss, less pain, quicker healing time. Now, there are so many parameters in this case that as a patient or as a doctor, you can decide that what are the expectations of these medical robots in terms of the quality assurance parameters, so that what are those secondary functions that we are expecting out of these robots. So there's a lot of scope. It is something like, when I was going to the literature in the medical terms, there is a it's like opening a floodgates, because this is not even engineering part, this is medical part. So if you are going to do some research in this area, and if you join hand with the medical professionals, so I think there is a lot of work which has to be done in this, based on survey or based on the various techniques that Sanjeev told, which you can apply, and then you can find out that what are the best possible, options available to you when you're going to such types of robots. Some word on medical robots, if you want to just have an idea. So these are the types of medical robots which I came across literature: surgical robots, rehabilitation robots, telepresence, pharmacy, companion, disinfection. So these are different types of robots. So this is something a robotically assisted surgical system. Okay, fine. So now, apart from all this, what is important is standardization. Now, I'm not talking about the standardization as an organization. I'm talking about the standardization of the robots, because when you see the performance, when you see the safety aspects in all the products, normally that there are some aspects of standardization. Unless we follow those aspects of standardization, it is difficult for us to ensure that yes, we are following some quality assurance process, because quality assurance is all about assuring the quality to the customer. So there is a requirement of the standardization for the various types of robots, and these standardizations are primarily maybe based on certain European standards, but primarily as a globally we view, we say it is for the ISO standards. ISO is International Organization for Standardization, which is a worldwide federation of national standards organization, and standards concerning robots are prepared by one of the technical committees. There are a lot of technical committees. That is the ISO Technical Committee 299, with the title as the robotics. So let us see some of the standards. So if time permits, you can ask me that why International Organization of Standardization is called ISO and not iOS. Okay. So ISO is a worldwide federation of national standard bodies, ISO member bodies. Say for example, in our country, BIS, so is one of the member bodies of ISO. So this is like a global standard, and the work for preparing international standards is normally carried out through ISO technical committees. So for this, it is 299. Each member body is a part, has been established and has the right to represent in the committee. So I could see that our country was also one of the parts in this. Now, if I talk about the ISO standards, so one of the important issues is the safety, and there have been safety standards developed. And apart from that, there have been robots safety standards for the non-industrial robots, non-industrial robotics sector also. And apart from that, there are standards about performance criteria, vocabulary and modularity. So let us classify them in a systematic way. Basic standard is ISO 8373-2012, which is for robots and robotic devices, which is vocabulary. So this is there in the most of the standards. Since I initial slides I told you what is definition of quality as per ISO. So similarly, robots and all the robotics devices, they have some standard definitions. Vocabulary is standard ISO 8373, which is developed in 2012 and which is of course under review. Under review means all these standards are under review over a period of 5 years, and they may be repeated again also, but then this is what is the status of this standard. And ISO 20218, which is part 1 in 2018, this is a robotic safety design for industrial robotic system, and it talks about the safety systems because safety is quite important. And similarly, the part 2 of 20218, which was developed, which was actually the latest one is in 2017. So safety design for industrial robot system part 2. Apart from that, we have one standard of collaborative robots and robotic devices, which is 15066, which is standard of 2016, but it was confirmed again in 2019. So this is the latest one. And very important, where now the market is, there is a lot of boom, and over the years you will find is the ISO 48220. This is for the safety requirement of the personal care robots. So these standards are, there are very vast booklets, and each one of them is available on some cost online version. So what I thought was that it is not possible, and you won't find interest also, but I want to give you an overview. So I just took one of the standards of this, and just a brief summary on what is this standard all about. So which was confirmed in 2020, safety requirements of personal care robots, and the cost of this standard is approximately 15,000 rupees. And you find that there is an overview in all these standards. It talks about what it covers. So this specifies requirements and guidelines for inherently safe design, protective measures, and information for use of personal care robots, in particular the following 3 types of personal care. That is the mobile servant robot. Now this is what is their classification: physical assistant robot and the personal career robot. And it presents signifying hazards and describes how to deal with them for each personal care robot type. It also covers robotic devices used in personal care applications which are treated as personal care robots, but it is limited only to earthbound robots. That is, robots that are only on the earth. And it does not apply to any robot which is traveling faster than 20 kilometers per hour. It does not apply to robotic toys. It does not apply to waterborne robots and flying robots, industrial robots, which are as medical devices or which are used in the military force. So this is, you see how each of these standards is, particular about and what it covers and what it is not covering. And when you go after this overview, when you go into the detail, the whole booklet contains all these aspects. Say scope, normative references, then the hazard definition, hazard relating to charging battery, electrostatic hazards related to robot shape, so hazards related to emissions. So all these things are covered in quite detail. So that's why the end result you find, when it covers this standard, you say it is a product which is giving you quality assurance. If I say that this particular robot is very good, performance is very good, but it is not following the standard. So at that point of time, you will not have any confidence on that whether you should purchase or whether you should go for this robot or not. Fine. So this is how all these standards they look like. So some other aspects on this. So these are some of the standards that are there, and apart from that, apart from the safety and cobot and this knowledge robots, some standards are there on the performance criteria, and some on the essential performance of the medical robots. So if I am correct that if you go to this ISO site, you will find that there are almost 31 standards like this. That whether these standards are latest one, I mean the which is the latest one, how and when the revision was carried out, and if it is under given on that. I hope you will find it quite interesting when you visit that if you are interested in the area of this robotics. Okay. So having said that, let us have some my last two slides on some statistics. This is not related to quality assurance, of course, but just I thought I will share them with you. So in our country, there are 3 robots for every 10,000 workers. So quality assurance comes only when there is lot of variety available to you. When there is lot of competitors available to you. Similarly, the US has 189, China has 68 robots.
Sir, you're not audible. Vimlesh?
Yes, sir.
Sir was not audible. Just see what is the glitch.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir has a network issue, so he's got disconnected from the meeting.
Just call sir and ask him any problems. Try to sort it out.
Okay, sir. Okay, I'm trying, sir.
कर लो please stay connected. We are trying to solve it out. Actually, sir is having some internet glitch over at his end, so please stay connected. Let us sort it out. Thank you.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Now
Sir.
it is okay.
You are audible, sir. You are
Okay.
audible. Yes,
Okay.
please.
So I don't know. I have connected through my phone only now, so I won't be able to share the screen. But there were only 2 slides left, so let me talk about them, about the statistics only.
All right, sir.
Second thing that I wanted to talk about in this statistics part was that as per this, the report of the International Federation of Robotics, and there was a study done by the name of World Robotics 2019. So there are approximately 25 lakh operational industrial robots in 2017, and this figure over a period of 1 year is expected to cross 35 lakhs. So this is again one statistics. But let me tell you that the cobots that we were just talking, they got a lot of attention in the media, and a lot many people are talking about that with this coming of cobots, those cage robots will go away. But still, the share of cobots is as low as about 3% of the total industrial robots. So that I just show you video also. And in 2025, as I told you, that most of the applications about 15 years ago were in the automotive field only. So there were about more than 80% of the robots which were in the automotive field. But over the years, you will find that this application has now come down, and even less than 50% of the robots are there in this particular field. And so likewise, there are a lot of statistics that are available, which I think you can always go about. So this is all about, so I want to discuss that how do you find this new area of quality assurance, and if there are any questions that how we can go about more into this, I will be happy to talk. Let us devote some 10 minutes to this. Yeah. I'm not able to see chat box also, Sanjeev. If there are some questions, you can check up in that. Hello. Yeah. Anything you would like to discuss? Let us as a teachers, let us discuss this, how this area can be explored further. I would be happy to associate. Okay then, Sanjeev, let us call it a day then.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Actually, the lecture is over now. I hope all the participants have gone through the various aspects of quality assurance of robotic system. And I hope this will definitely going to give the directions in research in the quality and emerging areas. I throw this session open to the participants. If they have any kind of a query or a question, they can ask over here through the chat, or they can ask over here as well. So if any questions, please come forward and ask your questions. Participants, do you have any questions? Sir, there is one question, which is more cost effective, robots or cobots? And this question is being asked by Mr. Mukesh Kumar.
What is the question?
Which is more cost effective, robots or cobots?
See, cost is a parameter which totally relates to what actually you want to do. If I talk only in terms of the collaboration, then definitely I would say that cobot is a better option where it is possible. Now there are limitations of cobot too, because you cannot have a cobot where there will be a direct and a simultaneous involvement of a robot and a human being. So given a choice, you have to go for cobot. Over the years, even if the cost factor is more, the reason being very simple, we over a period of time, we want to take best advantage of the robots, number one. Number two, we want to get rid of the most of the caged robots. Number three, we do not want the overall elimination of human beings in this working environment. So this is something like a in between win-win situation when you're going for the cobots. But of course, again, depending on the area, depending on the application, depending on the amount of work, depending on the precision, so you will definitely find that you might have to compromise on some aspects. But at the same time, you will see that a lot of other things are beneficial to you. So this is what is my my take on the terms of the cobots. So very difficult to straight away say yes or no to your answer, but it all depends on the situation analysis.
Thank you, Mukesh, and thank you, Grover sir, for answering. I further ask another participants, if you have any query, you can ask. As I'm not receiving any further questions from the participants, so over here I thank Professor Grover for sparing his valuable time and discussed about the very latest and emerging area in the quality assurance of the robots. Definitely the lecture has through knowledge and through research about the quality aspects in the robotic system. Once again, thank you, Professor Grover, for sparing your time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you to all the participants.
It was a learning experience for me too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. With that, we are closing this day with this lecture. We hope to have you again for the tomorrow's session that will be going to start exactly at 10. So I request every participants to please join 10 minutes before so that we can continue the session on its proper time. Okay.
Thank you. Also, thank you, sir, for being a co-speaker of this session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vimesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, participants. So hope we'll meet 10 a.m. early tomorrow. Okay. So thank you all.
Thank you, participant. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vimesh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.